Hey, what's going on, guys? Derek James here with govkidmethod.com, and today we have another episode of reading RFPs where I go on FBO, do an FBO live session. I look at solicitations and we kind of wade through them, together. I look for the important information, what you would need in a proposal response. I kind of look at the opportunity and tell you if I think it's a good one or not, something worth bidding. And then anything that's interesting or stands out to me, I also call that out. And we kind of walk through these together, all for the sake of giving you practice of reading these solicitations, RFPs, and RFQs. Repetition is the most important thing here. It increases your experience level, and it just makes things a lot less intimidating if you're new to government contracting, which a lot of people are. And it makes it just a lot less intimidating and makes you feel eventually like, hey, I can do this. I walked through this with Derek, and this is something that I can do. I can grow a government contracting business. That's really my goal. My end goal is to help as many business owners cross the finish line with their GovCon business as possible. So here we are at Fed Biz Opps. Today is September 14th. I've got an unfiltered search, as you can see here. And today we're looking at solicitations, as we often do. And I will expand this up. Oh, I meant to do 100. And what I do is I pick some off that look like they might be interesting to me. And then we just go through them, step by step together. I try to do it relatively quickly. If you've seen these before, you know that I wade through multiple opportunities. In each one of these videos, 3, 4, 5 opportunities. A lot of it depends on what we find and how long each one takes. Let me see here. So, all right, so we got 5 teed up here. So, first one is for Overseas Private Investment Corporation, which I've never seen that before. But it's for a senior environmental impact analyst. So it sounds like a person. And as we scroll down, they're telling us up to 1 PSC, 2-year renewable up to a total of 5 years, GS14 equivalent with a rate of $62 to $82 per hour. And that's the pay rate. It's not the bill rate. That's what you'd be paying the person. Let's see. Got a 541990 NAICS code on this. It was posted today, and the response is September 20th, which looks like that's this coming Friday. Man, where did September go? Organizational location position. The person's going to work in Washington, D.C., it sounds like. Must be able to obtain a public trust clearance, which I'm not actually sure what that is. Must be a citizen, duties and responsibilities. Scrolling down to the bottom to see if they have any attachments. Looks like they just have the one attachment. And they probably copy and pasted some of this and put it right in that FBO posting that we were looking at. Security clearance, I see. Yeah, must be able to obtain a public trust clearance. Apparently a public trust clearance is some sort of security clearance, but that is not common. That is not the norm. So they have the period of work statement here, statement of work. The term of the contract will be for 2.5 years with the option to essentially add another 2.5 years, so 5 years. Overtime pay for work beyond 8 hours. Contract administration. Okay, we're not finding too much stuff as of yet. As you see, I'm just kind of calling out a bunch of things. I haven't seen anything too helpful into making a decision. We have some clauses. And this may be the end of it. All that they really had in here, it looks like, was the statement of work. So we don't have a lot of great information on this one. I'll just quickly, they're giving us a range here. We're assuming that it's full time, but I haven't seen yet what they want in a proposal at all. We have a response deadline. Qualifications required, section 5. Must be registered in SAM. Applications must be formatted on 8.5 by 11. Describe your experience and knowledge in regards to qualification requirements in no more than 5 pages. Qualified individuals must submit no fewer than 3 or more to 5 professional references. So this is really gauged towards somebody who is going to be submitting themselves as a person to fulfill this. We see here that they did give us some qualifications, knowledge and expertise in these areas, and then master's degree. But it's just so vague. It's so damn vague. So this may or may not be something that would interest. This was a very boring one. This is not anything that excites me really at all. But I mean, it's the staff position. It appears to be for 2.5 years in Washington, D.C., supporting the OPIC. But, they don't have any pricing sheets to fill out. There's nothing to fill out. And they just want a proposal, basically, it looks like, with your resume and some experience. And, I mean, really, that's about all that I've seen. Talking to being able to perform the duties. It says all applications should be submitted electronically. So that's why I say that. They're calling this an application. Well, they haven't given us an application to fill out, which would be the proper way to do this. Instead, they're just giving you some vague proposal response, and they're calling it an application. So I don't love this. Quite frankly, I'm kind of sick about talking about it. It annoys me a little bit. So I'm just going to move on to the next. Youth dance instructor. All right, let's see what's going on with this. There's a little bit more life into this one, I hope. They don't have a set aside on it. Response date is again due September 20th. It was posted today. No changes to amendments. They're calling it a youth dance instructor. We don't know what that means, but we could probably take a pretty good guess at what that means. So we have a Word doc for the PWS. So this is a dance instructor. So we need to know how often they're going to be working. Are there going to be performances, things like that? And is it just one dance instructor? But again, this is placing another person. Security requirements. Looks like just a normal background check with a NACI, which you get once you get the contract. So that doesn't really preclude anybody, or it shouldn't. Employee requirements. Government will furnish areas suitable for instructional purposes. Delivery of dance program. Class schedule will be coordinated among the concessionaire and the youth program. Classes will be scheduled only Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. All classes must have a minimum of 5 participants. And then it looks like there will be ballet, tap, jazz, and contemporary dance. It's going to take place at the 412th Support Squadron. Yeah, did I say that right? In the Youth Center building and the Jungle Zone. performance period will begin 1st of October and end next year, September, with 4 one-year option periods. So this is the possibility for a contract for a base plus 4 options. So that's the statement of work. Pretty helpful, I would say. Now this is the solicitation. Let's see if we can't get any more information. So here is the base and option periods laid out as they just suggested. And that's kind of really all we have. They give us a POC. The next code, nothing too helpful there. Now we have these general contract provisions, which are going to be clauses, and they're probably not going to be terribly helpful. Let me see. So this is, Service Contract Act, SCA wage. Does not appear that they've included an SCA wage determination from the DOL, but that looks like it's in effect. But this is what I wanted. They have a quote worksheet. This really tells you everything you need to know. So if you're recruiting somebody, they're going to want to know, well, when do I have to work? Where do I have to work? Etc. And so this is telling you, okay, there's a class at 3, 4, and 5 on Monday, 9, 9:45 and 5 on Tuesday, 3, 4, 5 on Wednesday, and then 4 and 5 on Thursday. And then here's the different type of dances that will be taught and for the different age ranges. So they want you to price out the monthly unit price per student. So it says there has to be a minimum of 5 students, but really, you just want the rate. They want you to give them the rate. This is kind of confusing because I thought this was for the instructor itself. Now they're wanting you to price out per student. I have to think about this one for a minute. Anything else different here? Yeah. This is a little confusing to me, why they want you to price per student and why they wouldn't have you price for the instructor. I guess, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a dance teacher. I don't know if that's how they typically price things out. It says, and dance instructor quote worksheet. So this is the worksheet. Yeah, you could price it per student, but I feel like you're going to have to pay the instructor a minimum amount per class regardless of how many students. So I feel like the number of students then affects the price per student. That way you can make sure to cover the minimum that the instructor is going to get paid, as well as, making all of the profit that you're going to make on this contract as well. You kind of have to back into that number. And I'm not sure how monthly pricing per student is going to do that. So if it were me, I would either have to ask a RFI, because this does not make sense to me. And maybe it makes sense to you guys, or, maybe you've seen something. I've never seen something like this, price per student, when you have to price out an instructor. I would submit an RFI, and if I wasn't able to get an answer on this, I wouldn't bid it because it just doesn't make sense to me. Everything else makes sense, but that's really the most crucial part. So that's kind of my feelings regarding that. And that's kind of the first time I've ever seen something like that, to be honest. So next, we have this prehabilitative neck and back fitness services. Now this is for the Army National Guard. It looks like it's for Vermont. Yep. And the place of performance is going to be in South Burlington, Vermont. They have a ambulatory healthcare NAICS code 621340. The set aside is for all small businesses can respond. This was posted yesterday, Friday, and it's due September 23rd, which will be the Monday after this Monday. So 2 Mondays from now. But there was a change, and that change is responses to questions and answers. So we can go ahead and take a look at that first, because that has the potential to be a lot of good information. So it says the reason for the cancellation, where the bid's coming in too high. Well, this is some really good information, isn't it? Is this thing canceled? I mean, I didn't see that yet. It says the answer: the government requires vendor price submissions to follow the same format. The decisions were not clear. So I didn't know that this was canceled. If that's the case, I don't even want to spend any time looking at it. There's nothing here saying that it was canceled, and then it just says the change. The change is just posting the question and answers, though, and then it's the question and answers that says. So, okay, here's what's going on. I think they canceled the previous one, and now the one that we're looking at, this one, is the new one. So somebody who was following this is asking the question. So at least that's good news. We can still look at this because it's new, and whatever changes they wanted to make are now in place. And we didn't look at it before, so it's not really going to mess with us too much. So they're telling us the quote must contain the following: a technical capability, past performance, a management plan, and then your price. And in technical capability, they want A, B, C, and D, and then A, B, and C again, I guess. Sample assessment, sample treatment plan, sample quarterly report. That's a little confusing, but okay. I mean, this is for prehabilitative neck and back fitness services. So I guess if you're in the medical field and this is something that you do and you're interested in bidding, you'll know what a sample assessment, treatment plan, and quarterly report would look like. And aside from that, they want your working relationship between AT and SCS. I don't know what those acronyms are either. I'm guessing it's something to do with the neck and back, and maybe something with treatment. I'm curious though. Let's just take a walk on the wild side for a second and go to Google and just literally type in this as it is. AT and SCS. So neurological surgery. Yeah, nothing's really. Let me just type in back and neck along with it. Okay, so SCS is spinal cord stimulation, so that did help. And then I don't know about AT. So, but yeah, like I said, something to do with neck and back. That's good enough for our demonstrated working relationship between neck and back. We'll just read it that way. Experience with neck and spine injury rehab. Sample client training plan. Yeah. So I'm sure that if you're in this business, you do these sorts of things. Excuse me. So then they want 3 to 5 past performances. And then your management key personnel plan with resumes of key personnel that have at least 2 years experience. Your price, they're saying that they have a price worksheet. So let's take a look at the attachments that they have. They have a PWS, they have some clauses, they have a pricing spreadsheet, and then the solicitation. So let's take a look at the pricing spreadsheet really quick. All right, looks like it's just one tab, and looks like these are the different types of assessments. So this box up here is for 1 year, and it looks like they have 1, 2, 3 option years after that. So it looks like they're looking at 4 different assessments: strength and conditioning, pre and post flight athletic trainer services, strength and conditioning with 4 to 5 clients, and then strength and conditioning with 4 to 6 clients, a 4-hour block. And then they have the quantity of each to price. So if this is something that's in your wheelhouse, it looks like they're being very specific so that you would be able to price this accordingly, and apples to apples. So this is usually what I hope to find in pricing, and they are very specific here. All right, they're just giving us a little bit of information there. I want to take a peek at the solicitation, although that pricing worksheet did give us a lot of good information. So here we go. So they want, basically, they just copy and pasted into the Fed Biz Opps posting what they had here, but here's just them, the same thing, repeating. Technical capability, past performance, key management plan, price. We know all that. Basis for award. Contractor provided equipment will not be assessed as part of the evaluation. Let me see. Bear with me. Yeah, so I'm just quickly kind of reading through this. Factors to be evaluated, which are the same things. It does not look like this is going to be a LPTA. That's kind of what I was looking for. Evaluation approach, adequacy of response, and feasibility of approach. They really want to, make sure that you have a plan that you're able to perform on this. And this is how they're going to rate you. The overall price will be based on compliance, unbalanced pricing. I mean, they're getting really, really specific with their evaluation here, more than usual. But yeah, this is something very specific. I'm going to move on from it from now because a lot of you probably are not interested in it. Close that out. So next we have an asbestos removal for the Army Corps, Baltimore District. We have Waste Management Services NAICS code, total small business set aside. Was posted yesterday, is due September 25th, and a week after this week. It's almost the end of the month. It's crazy. Place performance is in Green Township, Pennsylvania, at the Letterkenny Army Depot. I assume I've been there actually. Very hilly, a lot of curves, mountains. I don't even think it's that far from Hershey, Pennsylvania. So this is a standard 1442 form, which is very similar to the 1449. If you hear me talk about those, it's a form that the Army and the DoD uses a lot, which I prefer because I know where to find everything that I'm looking for. But they blast this thing open with instruction to offerers right away, telling you what they want. They want a technical, volume 1 technical. We don't even know what the work is. Asbestos removal. Okay. We knew that, but they just want you to say how you will address everything in the PWS and your technical, and then their price. Pricing shall be provided in a firm fixed price. Firm fixed price, if you don't know, is basically an all-in price where they give you the money and they say, okay, do it. Don't come back to me later for any additional funds. This price proposal shall be provided in original only and submitted in a separate envelope apart from the technical proposal. Looks like they may want a hard copy of this. And they put in blue here, which I kind of just ignored, but I guess I should call that out. Offerer shall provide a quote for each service item on the schedule, no percentages. Offerer shall provide a quote for CRM reporting. If you're quoting $0, then put $0, and then failure to abide by items 1 and 2 may result in us throwing away your proposal. Yeah, typical. And then they want past performance for recent and relevant in the last 5 years. Basis for award will be LPTA. So whoever has the lowest price that's found to be technically acceptable will win this bid, which means if you have good enough past performance and your technical approach is standard for asbestos removal and relevant to this particular job at Letterkenny, then you will probably win. Proposal submissions. Written proposals are due and should be emailed in sufficient time. So they're saying emailed, but they said the thing about putting in a separate envelope for the pricing. So what I would do is I would just save off a separate volume just for pricing if you're going to email it, just to make sure it's not part of the technical and the past performance. And here we have this form that looks like it's a little messed up, but it's a past performance questionnaire that your references will complete and answer those questions. Past performance references. The offer shall arrange for the reference customer point of contact for 2 projects to fill out the questionnaire and return directly. So yes, they want you to go to your past performance reference and have them fill this out. And this is messed up, so you're going to have to go to them and get a better form. You're going to have to submit an RFI. Just email the contracting specialist, Tiffany Kimball, and say, hey, this form is messed up in the proposal. You should probably fix it and give me a new one. So you do that, and then you get the form, and then you give it to your references, and then they fill it out, and then they email it back to Tiffany Kimball. That way, Tiffany knows that you didn't tamper with the form yourself and give yourself all excellent ratings. But that's what all this is. Here's a statement of work where they're going to actually talk about the work to be done for asbestos removal. And they're giving you a square footage. Let me see. And they want isolation of the work using appropriate barriers as required for asbestos containment. I mean, this is environmental work, so you may even have to do air monitoring and things like that to make sure that the area stays contained and clean and that there's no hazards. But if you're in this line of work, I don't have to tell you that. You know more about it than I do. If you're in environmental or construction and you do asbestos removal, you should already know that. Here they're talking about invoicing and method of payment, period of performance. They're telling you 6 months from a notice to proceed, so that gives you a ballpark and lets you know, if this is all inside, you don't really have to worry about winter, but winters in Pennsylvania are definitely an issue. So sometimes there's outdoor works with asbestos removal, so you'll have to take a look and see if that's something to worry about or not, as that may or may not affect your period of performance of this on 6 months. This is how they're going to rate you once you start doing the work. Monitoring method, let me see here. 100% inspection. They're going to inspect each area before you bill out, obviously, and then they're going to periodically inspect as well. And they're going to want your updated plans and monthly progress reports as you go as well. This is all kind of construction type lingo. If you're not familiar to looking at construction type jobs, those type of progress reports and reporting are all they want you to have this affirmative action here. So they have goals actually for the employees working on the site, for female and for minority, 3% and 7% respectively. And we have some clauses and reps inserts. Talking about equipment costs here for settlement of proposals, assuming if there's issues regarding that. Then they included a wage determination. I don't know if this is Davis-Bacon. Yes, it is Davis-Bacon. So Service Contract Act, you'll find like an SCA wage, you'll find with services. And then with construction, environmental, you'll find Davis-Bacon. They operate the same in the fact that they basically give a minimum of what you have to be paying your people. And on these type of jobs, they will usually ask for certified payroll to actually be able to see that you're paying the people the minimum that you should be. So they do check up on you in regards to that. So that was asbestos, pretty straightforward actually, and we don't usually get to see ones like that, so I didn't mind taking a look at that. This one looks like it's for its HVAC system upgrade, but I immediately see at the top canceled. So I'm going to spend no time looking at that. Maybe I can just pick off one more here and call it a day. Fitness center PA system. Let's see. I mean, we all know what a PA system is, right? They're giving us a speaker layout. This is Seymour Johnson, so that's North Carolina. Statement of work. Q&A, and then the solicitation. We've got an audio video, NAICS code, a total small business set aside. There was one change, probably extending the response date is September 17th, so that's in 3 days. Not a lot of time, but to have a Q&A here. Does the old system have to be removed? So we're talking about a PA system. We can all wrap our heads around what that looks like. Does the old system need to be removed? No, it will be removed by the construction contractor. So there's construction going on. There's other trades going on at the same time on other contracts. They're going to remove this before you go in to do the work. Can the existing wiring be used? No, it can't. Probably because they're going to rip it out. Is separate volume control required in individual rooms? No, so that means you don't have to have separate controls for the speakers and microphones and things like that across different rooms. You just need the one master. Will zones have the same media services input? Yes, so you don't have crazy different types of inputs coming in. They're all going to be the same inputs. The aerobic room will have a separate auxiliary line that will be muted during announcements. That doesn't sound like a question to me. That sounds like a statement. Are the ceilings suspended or hard lid? The basketball courts is hard lid. All our other zones are suspended. Okay, this is all just very specific information that if you're doing this work, you will want to check out. But for us right now, it doesn't really seem to be anything that's pushing me in one direction or the other. Actually, I just opened this. Sorry, let me go back to the original here. So yeah, we have the speaker layout, and I'll show you real quick what that looks like. It's going to be a drawing, and if you know how to read drawings, you'll know how to read that. I really don't. Statement of work. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to do this work, guys. Like, you don't have to be a genius. You can just work with subcontractors, and they're the geniuses, right? Or if self-perform work, then God bless you, and you're all over this type of stuff. 2-page statement of work. They're telling us quantity of equipment in terms of speakers, wiring, panels, racks, all that good stuff. So basically, we have equipment and we want you to install it, and the old stuff is already going to be taken out, but you do have to provide your own wiring. The fitness center will be under construction. Zones 1 and 2. You have to coordinate around that to do your work. I don't really see. Let me see. Period of performance period shall begin within 30 days after the contract date. But I don't know how long they're giving you to do it. Period of performance for construction is 240 days. That's for construction. There's no way that this would take 240 days. I mean, I feel like you could get this done if you're a VTC company in 1 to 2 weeks. Just guessing. Due to simultaneous work of construction, there will be a delay in inspection and acceptance. They're not going to do it until all the construction is done, which is at 240 days, which kind of sucks because they're probably not going to let you bill out. And if that's the case, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do work and pay people and buy equipment and not be able to pay them for 240 days plus a billing cycle, like 270 days. I don't know. Like, something like that could actually turn me off from even bidding something like this. That's something that you don't see all the time. But because this is an install and there's other work going on, like the construction, it makes sense that they want to wait and make sure that everything, when make sure everything works rather once everything is done and complete. But as a business owner, I don't know if I like that. That's up to you guys if you would want to take a risk on something like that. It's a cash flow thing, and if you can float it, it doesn't look like it's a huge job, so maybe you can float it. But if not, then maybe you don't bid this. So that was the last one. We've looked at 4 today, I believe. So I hope you found them helpful. Always appreciate a like on a video. If you have any specific questions, put those in the comments. And if this is one of the first times you've watched one of these, please consider subscribing to my GovKid Method YouTube channel. It just allows me to access more people. The more subscribers that I have, the more of you that I'm able to reach, the more feedback I can get to make more videos geared and based on what's going to help you. Again, my mission is to help more GovCon business owners cross the finish line in their GovCon businesses. And lastly, but not least, feel free to check out my website, govkidmethod.com. If you have not, I have a lot of resources there that are free, and continue to keep checking it because it's constantly a work in process. I'm constantly building it out. I have some big plans on a build out that I want to do soon. So if you're watching this right now, September 14th, maybe check back in the next week or two, and I'll have some good stuff on there. But also check out the Facebook group. There's almost 300 members that are probably just like you at some stage in their GovCon business or on the fence, and they're considering getting in. And you can ask any questions to them as well. You'll find the links for the website and the Facebook group in the description of this video. So until next time, guys, hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time.